Saints fans, we just got some terrible, and I mean awful news around center Erik McCoy. He is expected to be out for anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks because he is getting surgery on a groin injury he suffered in Week 3 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Really quick reminder, this is why you subscribe, because we're going to bring you updates around your favorite team, whether it's good or bad. We are here to help you be more informed around the black and gold. So Saints fans, be sure to subscribe. We got a full breakdown coming up for you in just 1 second, so be sure to tune in. Stick around for the whole video. I got a lot of thoughts to break down. Mike Garafolo was the first to report the Erik McCoy injury news, and I'm going to get into full detail all about that. But before we do, got to give a big-time shout-out to our brand new sponsor, Public Rec. Today's show would not be made possible if it weren't for our awesome new sponsors and one of the most comfortable sponsors we've ever had, and that is Public Rec. And fellas, let's be honest, wearing pants absolutely sucks. So who decided that stiff, uncomfortable fabric digging into your family jewels was 100% necessary to go out and look put together? Well, I'm here to tell you that those days are finally over, because Public Rec has developed the revolutionary Daymaker pants. They feel as comfortable as sweats, but they look and fit like tailored pants. They're super stretchy and made with an elastic waistband, but you can wear them absolutely anywhere. And for a limited time, our listeners here at Saints Now by Chat Sports get 20% off their entire order when you use code CHAT at publicrec.com. That's 20% off your order at publicrec.com with promo code CHAT. Now, guys, Public Rec, they have a lot of really good stuff. I'm rocking one of their shirts. It's so comfortable. Look at that. Look at that stretch. I mean, that is absolutely awesome. And ladies, if you're watching, I'm just telling you, my girlfriend Maddie, she has the link, and she's using this promo code because the holidays are coming up. So is my birthday. So if you want to get your man looking good and feeling even better, go check out the link in the comment section and description of this video. So stop the suffering in regular pants for a limited time. One more reminder, our listeners get 20% off when you use code CHAT at checkout. That's 20% off with the code CHAT at publicrec.com. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Saints Now by Chat Sports, your favorite YouTube channel. Say goodbye to pants that put up a fight, because when comfort meets style, you found Public Rec. All right, so let's break this all down. Mike Garafolo, like I said a little bit ago, he was the first to report the news. It has been confirmed. It has been discussed by all of the other major Saints media people, so we all know it's 100% true. But I do think that Garafolo makes a really good point. Although it's a big loss, it's not a season-ending situation. So I hate to be that guy, but it could be a lot worse. It's already bad, but silver lining, I'm a firm believer there always is one. It could be worse. And let's just take a look. This is the player you're losing. I mean, Erik McCoy is one of the best centers in the National Football League, and statistically, according to PFF, he has been just that, an overall grade of over 95. He's been excellent as a pass blocker. He's been tremendous as a run blocker. 0 sacks, 1 pressure allowed this season so far. And again, it's been a very limited sample size, but he has been the best center in the league so far. Erik McCoy, he left on the 3rd snap of the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And unfortunately, this is one of those losses that it's going to be tough to recover from. So in my opinion, you have to take a big look at Klint Kubiak, and you got to say, man, we got to figure this out. Because what happened against the Philadelphia Eagles cannot continue to happen throughout the regular season. You lose your starting center. That is a big loss. Do not get me wrong. That stinks. However, you got to make something work here. Lucas Patrick, he did fill in at the center position on Sunday whenever Erik McCoy left, and I'll give him credit. He played pretty well. I'll give him a lot of that. But Cesar Ruiz also left with an injury. Trevor Penning at right tackle, he had that dumb penalty. Taliesin Fuaga, he's been great so far. But did you also forget Ryan Ramczyk earlier this offseason? He got placed on IR because he has legitimately no cartilage left in his knee. That's not good for the Saints offensive line. You have 2 all-pro centers, 2 great not centers, 2 all-pro linemen, 2 great offensive linemen that are out now due to injury. Erik McCoy's injury, again, it's not anything that's going to be a season-ending situation as of what we believe right now. I'm a firm believer that Erik McCoy loves this football team. He has a lot of people to prove that this is a quality football team. And to be honest, he is a guy that has played really, really well over the past couple of seasons. So I like him a lot on the offensive line. I think he's a great anchor, and he just needs to get back on the field because the Saints offense absolutely needs him. So send some love to Erik McCoy, type 78 for the big center, because this stinks, man. This absolutely stinks. I really want him to find this video, see that there's 1,000,000 78s in the comment section, because Saints fans just want him to get well soon. Again, it sucks. Erik McCoy is such a good football player, but moving forward, Klint Kubiak needs to have a plan. There's no question about it. You cannot go out there and trot out a bad offensive line situation like you did last week. You made do with what you had with no time to really adjust outside of halftime, but you didn't really have time to game plan without Erik McCoy. That's a big loss. So moving forward, you have to be able to have an effective offensive line and still win in the trenches. My point being, when the Saints lost Taysom Hill, you knew you weren't going to have him in the Eagles game. It was already, had to shift around the game plan. You lose Erik McCoy, and boy, that game plan just blew up. I saw it on social media, a picture of it was like 2 pillars, Erik McCoy, Taysom Hill, and on top, it said Saints offense. I'm like, wow, that is so scarily accurate. I did not realize how much these 2 players meant to this offense until they were not a factor because of injuries. Now, there are some options in terms of where the Saints could shop for a center or potentially fill in that void that Erik McCoy does not have, or that Erik McCoy left now because he's injured. You could go internal. You do have options like Lucas Patrick, who played center last week, and he played pretty well. But even guys on the practice squad, you have Shane Lemieux, who was a UDFA, or not a UDFA. You have Shane Lemieux, who came in through training camp. That's the word I was looking for. He came in and was a participant in training camp, did not make the roster. You also have Kyle Hergel as an offensive guard, so if you wanted to elevate him, you could move Lucas Patrick over. Hergel was good in the preseason, but then on top of that, you have Josiah Ezerim, a 7th-round pick. You could elevate him to maybe add a little bit of depth to the offensive line. My point being, the internal options, there are some. They may not be amazing, but there are some. Trades, teams do not trade away good centers. They just don't. It's hard to trade for an offensive lineman. It would be rare. I'm not saying it won't happen, but it's going to be tough to pull one of those off, and you're going to have to pay a hefty price. The practice squad, you could go and poach another player off a team's practice squad. The risk and reward with that, reward, you get a player, that's awesome. You don't have to trade for him. But the risk, he's on the practice squad for a reason. You have to move into a new offensive system. You have to learn that. Like, do we really trust a guy coming off a practice squad from another roster to be ready to go on Sunday versus the Falcons? Not really, in my opinion. And then free agency, you do have a few options, most notably Ricky Stromberg, Mason Cole, and Cameron Tom. Those are the 3 best centers that are available in free agency. Obviously, they're not all household names. They're not people that are players that you and I have done a ton of research and know a ton about. I do know Ricky Stromberg. He's an Arkansas Razorback. As an Arkansas Razorback alum, I can tell you this. O-linemen from the Hogs that make it to the league typically are pretty solid. However, there's probably a reason he's available as a free agent. I just got to say this. I genuinely am concerned about this team moving forward. And it's not anything to do with the defense. It's not anything to do with special teams. It's purely the offense. Like, we all knew going into this season, if the offensive line could produce and they could have a really, really good season, then the offense could fly. And we saw that in those first 2 weeks. You lose a really, really key part of that, the anchor, the center. I was a center when I played football. That's a very important position. The tackle's very important, but the center is the anchor. That right there is a big loss, and I am concerned. I truly am. I really hope that he can get back healthy soon. He's also a player that, if he's ready to go in 6 weeks, depending on how the season's going, do you really want to rush him back and risk further injury and then have to find another offensive lineman because you have another player who's dealing with injuries and can't play? It's just offensive lineman injuries are the worst. Injuries in sports in general are the worst, and I'm upset. I'm really sad. I wish nothing but good vibes to Erik McCoy, but we got to ask the question, Just because there's an injury doesn't mean that there's not football to be played. The Falcons notably do have a couple injuries on their offensive line as well. So both teams in the trenches, a little bit banged up. So both teams' defensive lines could feast this week. So who you got, Saints or Falcons? Just type S or F in the comment section. I better see a ton of S's down there. Now, really quick, if you want to hit me up on social media, feel free to give me a follow. I've been up in my Twitter game. I've been up in my Instagram game, and I've been up in my TikTok game. A lot of exclusive content that we can't post here on YouTube. So if you want to get more coverage, if you want to get more videos, and you want to have a little bit more fun and talk about the Saints, hit your boy up. Y'all stay golden. We will see you next time.